Have you ever been frustrated with somebody at work that just all the time wants to invent new ways of doing things? And you just want to get the job done. Or maybe it's the opposite for you. You've got great ideas and your boss is just telling you, just keep doing the same thing. Or maybe your wife, you can't understand why she's getting frustrated with you when you're just trying to give her good advice. Cannot figure that out. Well, today we're going to clearly define what it is that makes each of us unique, what it is that energizes us, and what it is that frustrates us. You can probably see I'm not alone up here today. I never go anywhere without a bodyguard. Gentlemen, meet Dom. You know Dom is legit because he just goes by his first name. There are a few reasons I brought him. You know, the greatest leader who ever lived sent his disciples out 2 by 2. And I've learned we're better together. Also, Dom has described my personality as a loaf of bread. So maybe he'll bring a little more energy to the stage. I don't know. What else have you described me as?
Yeah, I actually described Jamison as a lot of things.
Don't go down the list.
To be truthful, he actually brings me along because I'm smart, I'm handsome, I'm funny, and it's clearly traits that he's lacking. He gets these speaking engagements because of his reputation, and he gets these speaking engagements. So we're at this big, we're out in Vegas, and I think we were out to dinner.
It wasn't just dinner. So okay. So you guys have been to Vegas, some of you. So we're out at Vegas. We have 2 tables full of prospects and customers. So I'm spending a ridiculous amount of money on this, and it's this big fan. We've been there for 2 hours, right? They're finally bringing the entrees out, and Dom speaks up.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have ever been to Vegas or it's crazy fancy dinner, but I mean, seafood tower, there's dry ice coming off this thing, steaks are sizzling, they start bringing the sides out or whatever, and I look over, and I'm like, that's it. It was a bowl of mashed potatoes, and I said, that's Jamison's personality right there, and I described it to the rest of the convention. So everybody meet Jamison Carey. He is overcompensating for that with this outfit today. I think he might be trying a little too hard too, so we'll see.
Dom used to be on my team. If anyone's looking for an average leader, talk to him at lunchtime.
I need a job. Have you ever read a book, maybe said to yourself, I didn't get anything out of that book? Or maybe you read a book, and really what I try and do is pull at least one thing out that I can latch onto and take with me. But then every now and then, maybe you read a book that really hits you upside the head and totally changes the way that you think. And that happened to us recently. We read a book titled The 6 Types of Working Genius by author Patrick Lencioni, if anybody's read that. That's it right there. It's awesome. So in this book, Lencioni shows us how to better understand what God's given us. He's given us some gifts, and he's given us some frustrations, and also how to better understand the people that we interact with every day, whether it's at work or at home. And today, we're going to quickly identify the 6 working geniuses and how they impact us. So there's 6 of these things. This is important. I actually wrote it down. So 2 of these are called geniuses. 2 of these are called frustrations, and we're going to show you what these look like. 2 of them in the middle are called competencies. We're not really going to get into too much of that today. But your geniuses, your 2 geniuses, those are what energize us. Our frustrations drain us. So if we have to do them too long, they drain us. I was listening a couple months ago to John Maxwell. If anybody knows John Maxwell, I was listening to him speak, and he's got a lot of great messages, but the piece of it that I took out of it was, he was talking about it, and he was basically, hey, dummy, like our strengths are our strengths for a reason. There's no reason to spend a whole bunch of time on our weaknesses and beat ourselves up over things that we're not good at or, we don't really enjoy. So we need to focus our energy on what we're good at. And if we understand these geniuses and frustrations, it's really going to help us in our interaction, make those relationships, again, at home or work, just going to make them better. And we're going to have a much stronger team if you're in any sort of management or leadership position. We'll have a much stronger team if you can put people around you that will complement you. So the acronym for the 6 geniuses spells the word widget, which starts with W.
Starts with W. The first one is wonder. So the genius of wonder, or the gift of wonder that God has given us, involves the ability to ponder or speculate and question the state of things, asking the questions that provoke answers and action. So people with wonder naturally question. They find it easy to lose themselves in observing the world around them and wondering whether things shouldn't be different. They're wondering if there's untapped potential or something they should tap into. They kind of go around with their head in the clouds. Chances are, if you have this gift, you've never been told it's a gift. People are often misunderstood and sometimes even criticized for being someone that wonders. So as a matter of fact, I'll give you an example. When we first dug into this, we realized that we had surrounded ourselves with people that did not have this trait. So we talk about gifts and frustrations. Wonder is a frustration for both of us. So we determined to hire, our next hire was going to be somebody that was high on that wonder scale. So Brandon leads our marketing department, and he is W. Guess what? He frustrates us because of his wonder. But we would not be able to get where we need, there he is.
There's Brandon right
We would
there.
not be able to get where we need to go without Brandon on our team, because he brings that wonder for us, even though it's a frustration. Next one is I, invention.
Yeah, so the genius of invention is all about coming up with new ideas and solutions. People with this genius are drawn towards origination, creativity, and ingenuity in the truest sense. So, for me, genius is an interesting word. I think if I were to ask you, think of the first person that comes to your mind if I say the word genius. Somebody just said it, and I could have guessed that. But think about it. Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, maybe Elon Musk. When we talk about these gifts, and all 6 of them are geniuses, but truly I is the one that's most classified as a genius. So people with the gift of invention, they can take the idea, this moves down the line, they take the idea from the W, they put some substance around it, they create it, they manipulate it, and they take that idea and they actually make it into something that you can act upon. And let me tell you, Jamison loves inventors.
Well, okay, I love inventors, but that's my other frustration. So that's frustrating for me. I can remember all the way back to when I was a teenager. I worked in a glass shop. We installed doors and entrances. You get paired up with somebody for the day. And I always hated it when I got paired up with Dave, because every day I wanted to go install doors, and Dave wanted to invent a new way to install doors. And so it frustrates me. Throughout my career, I can think of those people. But we know that to accomplish a project, we actually need that step in there. We need inventors.
That's right.
So the next one is discernment. D for discernment. The genius of discernment is related to instinct, intuition, uncanny judgment, and people with this genius have a natural ability to assess an idea or situation even without a lot of data or expertise. So this isn't data-driven, it's not technical, it's not based on training, it's a gift from God. People with a high D are discernment. Dom is actually a D. Has discernment. So with it's my turn. So Dom will give you your opinion whether you want it or not. But people with discernment, if they have that gift, they take it as a compliment if you ask for their opinion, and it'll help you if you do. So they have the ability to bridge that gap after the invention to the next step. And so I give you a real quick example with Dom. There was a time when we were responsible, I had 17 dealerships I was responsible for, and Dom had 6 of those. And so you're moving, from one dealership to the next on a consistent basis. And what I learned about Dom is he was better than anybody I've ever worked with at going into a dealership and identifying what needed to be adjusted, changed, tweaked, and it's a gift. It's a gift from God. It's discernment. Then I'll give you one more example. Craig Groeschel. You guys are probably familiar with him. He's a pastor, pastors dozens of churches, and he is a high D. He has discernment. And he said that God has given him that gift so that he can go into a church and immediately identify, this is not the gift of the Spirit, this is a gift of the way that God created you. Next is galvanizing.
That's right, G for galvanizing. So genius of galvanizing is about rallying, motivating, and provoking people to take action, around an idea or initiative. People with this genius are naturally inclined to inspire and enlist others to get involved in an endeavor. So we don't mind persuading people to jump on board, to change their plans, and really strike out on something that's worthwhile. I think we'll have Jamison's up here. Nope, Jamison's not up here. We're both G's. You're going to see it. There we go. Jamison is a G. We're both G's. Man, we live here. If someone said to us, hey, here's a blank canvas, here's a whiteboard, just create something. Like, man, I'm out. I can't really do that. But they said, hey, we got this project and we need to work on it. Let's go. We're going to go find people that we can rope into it right away. And the way that, like, we use this in business. You can even use it in your personal life, as you'll see. But for me, I'm an I in the middle. It's my competency. So I'm going to go find an I that has that as a genius. I want to upgrade that. And I definitely need to find a T. But I need to kind of stay away from too many D's, right? Because if we have too many D's, we're just going to debate with one another until it's time to go home. But I got to find that T, because for me, I'll just keep building and building and building a project, and it'll never get done.
Yeah. So galvanizing. That's about bringing people together. Should every leader be a G?
Maybe it's a good question. You might think so, but not necessarily. Any combination of these geniuses and frustrations can make a good leader, whether it's in business or, again, at home. Think about that. Lencioni, the author of this book, he was on a podcast with Craig Groeschel, who Jamison mentioned, and he said the only type of person that doesn't make a good leader is one that lacks self-awareness. Right? So let's think about that in work, or again at home, just somebody that lacks self-awareness. So if you're not a G, if your genius is not a G, you just need to find somebody on your team or surround yourself with someone around you that's a strong G that's going to rally the troops and get stuff done and let you go focus on your strengths.
I'm going to use myself as an example real quick. For years, I believed I could not lead an organization. Even though I was in leadership, I knew I lacked creativity. And so I saw, these people that had that creativity, that invention, they had wonder, and I didn't have those things. I didn't understand it back then, but I knew I lacked creativity. Well, eventually, over time, I realized if I surround myself with the right people, then I can lead an organization. I just have to trust those people. Well, now, after understanding these gifts that God has given us, I can easily identify that. I can look at somebody and immediately, with a 7-minute assessment, know if they have those things that I'm lacking, and we can surround ourselves with them. Next one is E, enablement. So the genius of enablement involves providing people with support and assistance the way that it's needed. People with this genius are adept at responding to the needs of others without conditions or restrictions. So they're just naturally inclined to help others accomplish their goals, and often can anticipate what people might need even before they ask. So we all know people like this. They don't know it's a genius. They don't even know it's a gift from God a lot of times. What they know is they just like to help people. And so people with this genius are always stepping in, helping you go to that next level. My wife is a strong E. She's enablement. We just talked about how I'm a G. So for us around the house, we used to live out in the country. We had all this acreage and livestock. There's always something that needs to be done. We also had teenagers around. So for me, it was super easy to I'm a G. Let's get them all together. We'll go, knock out this project. My wife, G is her frustration. And I never understood, why don't you ask these kids to help out? That's a frustration for her. She's a strong E. And she's going, why isn't everybody jumping in? Because that's the way she sees life. She's an E. She jumps in, is always quick to help people. Next is tenacity.
Yeah, T, old tenacity. The genius of tenacity is about the satisfaction of pushing things across the finish line to completion. People with this genius, they're not only capable of, but they're naturally inclined to, which is crazy to me, finish projects and ensure that they're completed according to specification. So these people gain energy by pushing through obstacles, by checking things off their to-do list, by completing the task, by getting something done and getting closure. Guys, I gotta tell you on this one, get me out of here. I am so bad at this, and I've noticed, I've actually wondered for a long time, but I started noticing, then finally I found this out, and I'm like, thanks God, that's why I'm like this. But I typically do one of two things. I get on a project, I get about 80% of the way done, and then I see this new shiny object over there, and I'm like, man, I want to go discern that thing. So I just leave it halfway done or 80% of the way done, right? Or I build something, Excel spreadsheet, whatever, I get into this project, and I build this monstrosity, and it's so counterintuitive and complex that I hand it off to Jamison, and he's like, what on earth did you do here?
Can't even use it.
So, yeah, T is not my strong suit. It's a frustration.
T is a genius for me. I love to just finish stuff. I end up being that hedgehog. Just do it. I just want to do it. Okay, let's give you a real simple kind of overview of process of how that work goes. Okay, this is just oversimplified, but I think it helps bring it all together. So W identifies the need for change. That's the first step. The I, invention, creates the solution. The D, evaluates and refines the solution. They're going to recommend it for action. Then the G is going to rally people together. E provides support and human capital. And then lastly, T is going to make sure that the job gets done. So you can use any example, any type of project at home or at work, whatever it is. There are going to be those 6 stages in the project. So as an example, let's take a vacation real quick. The first stage calls for somebody to ask the big questions, ponder the possibilities, greater potential, raise a red flag. So they're just speculating on things, wondering about it. So let's just say, the W is not happy about staying home for spring break. What would the W say?
They're going to ask a question. They're going to say, should we go somewhere? Should we go somewhere for spring break on vacation?
All right, so the next step involves answering that question by creating a solution, coming up with a plan, proposing a new idea.
Yeah, I would say, hey, I got an idea. Let's go to somewhere within driving distance. Let's go up to Lake Michigan.
Okay, so then third is about responding to and evaluating the idea. And that comes from invention, and then they're going to assess the proposal and provide feedback or a solution.
This is me. I'm going to discern it and say, man, Michigan's pretty cold. Let's go somewhere warm. Let's go to Destin Beach. We can drive there and be warm enough to enjoy some sunshine.
Okay, so the plan's vetted. It's judged to be worthwhile. Now the next step calls for somebody to gather the troops, rally people around.
The old G. So that person's going to say, hey, everybody, you hear that? Clear schedules. We are going to Florida. Let's do it.
There wasn't much excitement there.
Hey, everybody, we're going to Florida.
Next is E, that's enablement. And so they got to, they're going to have to make themselves available, agree to do what's needed. They're stepping in. That's my frustration too.
Clearly. I don't care what they do. So the E's going to say, hey, I'll drive, and I got a couple seats with me. Let's load up. Come with me.
And then finally, somebody's got to complete the project. They got to push it through to completion and get through the obstacles.
Yeah, so the T is the one that's going to button it up. Rooms might be too expensive, or they're going to, maybe they know somebody down there. Hey, I know somebody down there. I'll get the hotel rooms blocked, and I'll get us a great deal.
Okay. Can we reset the clock? So our goal today is for you guys, we'd love for you to read this book. We want to encourage it. We believe it's life-changing. We'd also encourage you to take the assessment. If you Google 6 types of working genius assessment, don't do it now. Wait till David Wigington's talking. But Google that. Then you can take the assessment in less than 10 minutes. It took me 7 minutes to do it. We want to encourage you to do that. Real quick, one more thing. What about hiring?
Yeah, so we needed an office manager for our business, and think about what an office manager might do. Order snacks, do a little bit of accounting, do some different stuff like that. But what geniuses do we think you might need with somebody like that?
You want somebody that's going to help out and somebody that's going to finish projects.
That's right. No W or I. Yeah. So we need an E and a T. We need an E and a T. So we found Abby. We found the right person for the job, and she's crushed it. That's Abby, and she's an E and a T, and it works.
It's incredible how it works. I love the quote you mentioned earlier by Lencioni about leaders. The fact is, all of us are leaders in some capacity. You're leading somewhere. You're leading at work, you're leading at home, you're leading your family, you're leading your little brother, somebody. We're all leading. And so if we're going to do that, we have to know. We got to know our strengths, we got to know our weaknesses. Do it. Take the assessment, learn it, have the people that you lead do the same thing. You guys remember what my geniuses are?
You were a G and a T?
G and a T. I like to encourage people, and I like to finish things. So, Dom, come on, let's go.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.